dudes.
It's been a fat minute since I've posted a video, but with me turning 21 recently, I wanted to share the 21 things I've learned over the short 21 years I've been on this rock. So let's get into it. Number 1, just start. We can often get overwhelmed by the end goal and where we want to be in 5, 10, 15 years. Though we forget that we need to take action now in order to get there in the end. And yeah, it's good doing your research and having knowledge in that area. But in order to gain an experience in the area that you want to go in, it's all about getting your foot in that door and trying it. You could do all the research in the world of how to become the best chef. But if you're not actively in the kitchen, making mistakes, learning from them, how are you going to be the best chef? So yeah, taking that first step will always be the hardest. But get out of your head and just start. Number 2, read books. I promise that whatever you're curious or interested in, there's a book for it, somewhere out there. Books give us so much knowledge, whether that's about money, mindset, finances, relationships. The list goes on. They are criminally underrated. And just by reading 5, 10 pages a day, that can completely shift your mindset. So find what you're interested in and read a book about it. I promise you won't regret it. Number 3, be nice just cause. I feel like the world is so transactional these days and people can't do anything without expecting something in return. It's not that hard to just be nice, whether that is in person or online. You never know what someone's going through. And being nice could just make someone's day so much better. Number 4, health is wealth. We only get one body in this whole life, so take care of it. Doesn't mean you have to be eating broccoli and chicken every day. It means eating good and fueling your body. When you eat like shit, you feel like shit and you perform like shit. I still go out, drink and enjoy a nice dinner, but all in moderation. So eat good, take your vitamins, go to the gym, get some exercise, because once your health is in check, everything in life is so much better. Number 5, growth only occurs outside of the comfort zone. Yeah, it's so cliche and you've probably heard it 1,000 times, but I'm here to tell you one more time that growth only occurs outside of the comfort zone. How do you expect to grow and learn as a person if you never try anything new and you stay in your little bubble of things that you do know? Like in my opinion, finding out what you don't like to do is just as important as finding out what you do like to do, because you never want that thought of what if I did this, or like how could my life turn out if I did that? Like why don't you just try it for a bit? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like at least you know you've been there and done that and you can say that you've tried to do something. Like the Yes Theory's seek discomfort motto is so inspiring, because if you're constantly seeking discomfort, you're forever going to evolve. Like imagine trying nothing new in your life. How boring would that be? Doing the same things over and over again. Like I think the other side of the fear that holds you back is a life that you want to live. Like imagine you did start that business or that podcast or that YouTube channel and then it did pop off. How like fulfilling would that be to you? And even if it didn't, at least you tried and gave it a go, rather than sitting there and thinking, what if this happened? What if I did do that? You know, when you're like 20 years older than you are now and you're regretting those actions. I think that's literally my biggest fear, like being on my deathbed at like 80, 90 and thinking to myself that I didn't live a life that was true to myself. That thought to me is so scary, and I think it should be scary to you as well. So live a life true to yourself and do things that scare you. Number 6, not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay. If you are doing your own thing and people don't like that, that's their loss. Why try and change the person that you are to please someone else? Like I've learned that being a people pleaser is such a waste of time. That doesn't mean be a jerk and not treating people with respect. Like obviously be nice, even if it's not deserved, but don't waste any time thinking about why they may not like you. Like you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that is perfectly okay. So stay true to yourself, because if you are, the right people will stick around and the fake ones will go. Number 7, listen more, talk less. Pretty self-explanatory, but you can learn a lot from just listening to other people speak. And people love talking about themselves, as do I. I think this is one of the chapters in How to Win Friends and Influence People, that you become a great conversationalist when you learn to actively listen to the other person. So go out there and try it. Genuinely listen to what the other person is saying and listen to understand, not to reply. Number 8, money returns, but time doesn't. I was brought up to save nearly all the money I made from work and not spend it, save it for a house, and then put a deposit in, and that was it. But after deep diving into like self-improvement and stuff, you learn that like money flows in and out, and there's an abundance of money in the world. And I think once you adopt that mindset, it's like you realize that money isn't the end goal.
time is the real currency that I guess we're all trying to acquire. Like renting, for example, like I know it's dead money, and like I'd have so much more money if I stayed at home, but the opportunities that came with moving out of home and all the stuff that I've done ever since moving out of home has been irreplaceable. And like I don't think I'd be the same person as I am today if I didn't move out at the start of the year. Going on like trips and stuff with your friends, I feel like that is so valuable, like life experience. A lot of people, they want to travel, but they never commit to it because they say, oh, I'm gonna go to uni, after uni I'll get a job, save up for a few years, and then I'll go travel. By the time you're like mid-20s, nearly 30, and then you got like other commitments going on. And don't get me wrong, like you can, but then you just often get caught up in life. There's no better time, especially if you live at home, to save up some money and go travel. You've got no like responsibilities or commitments to pay for. And I feel like that life experience that you get from traveling is, you can't get it from anything else. Like we're only ever this age once. Like I'll never be this young ever again. Tomorrow I'll be older than I am today, even if it's just by a day. And that scares the shit out of me. You can work as hard as you want for money, but at the end of your life, you're not gonna be thinking about all the money that you made. You're gonna be thinking all the experiences that you had throughout your life. And isn't that what makes us human? Like the experience that we have here while we're on this earth. But yeah, like I get both sides. Like it's important grinding for money and doing what you can because it does create freedom. But you also got to remember that our time on this earth is super limited. So whenever opportunity arises for you to do something, I would take it and just run with it, man. Number 9, we all have our own path. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. They say comparison is the thief of joy, and it couldn't be any more true. You could see someone on the internet and they could have put in like 10, 15 years of work, but you only see what they put out. Like you don't see the hard yards behind the scenes. And you comparing yourself to that, it just doesn't make sense. I sort of seeing it's like, especially on Instagram, everyone else's highlight reel and no one's posting what's happening behind the scenes. They could be posting that they're really happy, but really deep down they're not. Especially in the fitness industry, like there's a lot of comparing going on, and you just got to realize that you're one of one and there's only one of you. You might have different genetics than someone else, and you got to control your controllables, as they say. Control your work ethic, how hard you work in the gym, and everything else is out of your control, especially on like in competition. If you work for the best package that you can, there's not much else you can do on show day. Like it's up to the judges. Someone could just have insanely good genetics. Doesn't mean you didn't work hard. It just means they brought a better package on the day. But yeah, especially in this day and age, there's no point comparing yourself to someone else because this is your journey, your book, you're writing it every single day. So keep writing and be the main character.
Number 10, don't jump to conclusions and make assumptions. We all have a mouth for a reason, and that's to communicate with one another. I think that's something huge that I've learned is trying to communicate to the best of my ability. Because if you don't, like another person doesn't know how you feel or what you're thinking, and that leads to them jumping to conclusions and making assumptions when that might not be the case at all, you know? So I think it's very important to communicate how you feel, whether that's in a friendship, relationship, or just in like a workspace environment. Like learning to speak up about your opinion and what you want, I feel like is super important as well. You know, we live in a life where social media is a big part of our daily routine, and a lot of information gets put up on there that makes us like second guess our actions and gets us overthinking a lot. But if you learn to communicate to the best of your ability, I think all those like second guesses and all that just goes out the window. And yeah, I think it's important to be brave and make your voice be heard. So yeah, use your voice and communicate. Number 11, there is no failure, just learning. Think back to a time where you did something and it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. Yeah, in that moment, it must have sucked. You might have lost money, you might have lost time. But if you adopt this mindset, the next time you do the same thing, you're not going to repeat the same process, are you? Because you can't do the same things and expect a different outcome. So don't take your failures as an L, it's just a lesson for you to learn from. Number 12, asking for help and showing emotion isn't weak. I feel like it's beginning to be a lot more talked about and discussed on the internet, which is great because the reason a lot of people don't open up and discuss the way they feel or if they need help in any ways because they feel that they can't talk to anyone about it. To me, I honestly see asking for help in any way, whether it's business, about the way you feel, about something you're unsure of. I feel like that's a sign of strength rather than a weakness because you understand the way that you feel or
you understand that you might not have the knowledge on something, so you seek the advice of someone that does have the knowledge or someone that you do feel comfortable speaking with. I'm sure a lot of people will be willing to help you, especially if you reach out to them and ask for help in any circumstance. So yeah, take care of your friends, make sure they're doing all right. If they're not, be there for them. You know, it can mean a lot more than you think. And yeah, don't be afraid to ever ask for help from someone. And yeah, never be afraid to ask anyone for help. Like, I see a lot of stuff on the internet about entrepreneurship. Everyone wants to do it themselves and be a self-made millionaire and stuff like that. But if you can get closer to your goal more efficiently and effectively with help, why wouldn't you? Why would you try and do it all yourself? So yeah, that shit is not a weakness, it's a strength.
Number 13, it's always a no if you don't ask. You know, there's opportunities that arise every single day, and whether we're too scared to take on those opportunities, it's always going to be a no if you don't ask. And that can apply to many different situations in life. Take on those opportunities that present themselves, because you never know where they'll lead you. So if you're unsure about something or a situation, it's always going to be a no if you don't ask. So be bold and ask.
Number 14, the idea that I will be happy once I have a Lamborghini or once I buy a big mansion. That will never be true. If money is the source of your happiness, it'll never end, because money is never ending. Like, you could always want more. Whereas if you pursue your life with your passion, like say if that's fitness and helping other people out like a PT, like if you're passionate about that, money won't matter. And you're living a fulfilling life because you're helping others as well. Not to say there's anything wrong with wanting like a nice car, a nice house. Like, I want that stuff as well. But you gotta also understand that happiness does not come from an external object. Like, it'll come from internal. I think that's one of the main reasons why you can't love someone else until you really love yourself first. So it's just a reminder to just look deeper than the money and the fast cars and the big mansion and the yacht. Like, look deeper into yourself and what you find pure joy and happiness in. Because at the end of the day, richness in internal happiness and internal joy is worth a lot more than any number in a bank account. Number 15, you are in control of your life. Start acting like it. You know, many people go through their lives sitting in the passenger seat of their own life. I think once I realised that I'm in 100% control of the small habits that I do every day, the choices I make, I think that's when you start to take responsibility in your life and realise that ultimately it is up to you. Like, not every day you're going to have someone there pushing you. It's 100% up to you. Like, in many books there's heaps of examples like atomic habits, just like the small things that you do every day, the small choices. Those will compound over time and will create the life that you ultimately want to live. So control your controllables. Instead of pressing snooze when your alarm goes off, get up straight away. Or better yet, have your phone across your room so you're forced to get up to turn off your alarm. You know, they say, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything, and that couldn't be any more true. So if you're watching this, I hope you realise that you too can be like the people that you see online. You can live that life. It's just up to you to put in the work and go for it.
Number 16, consistency breeds results. I heard this quote that went, I'd rather be good all the time than great occasionally. And actually hit hard. Day in, day out, if you're being consistent in what you do, you will receive results. You know, like, success in anything you're trying to achieve doesn't happen overnight. I know a lot of successful entrepreneurs that said it took them 4 years to be an overnight success, because you don't see that hard work that they do behind the scenes. You only see the results that they achieve. But yeah, if you're seeing this, make a promise to yourself for the next 30 days that you will stick to one habit. Just try one habit for the next 30 days and see how that goes for you. Consistency is key.
Number 17, life will change you a million times. You gotta learn to be flexible and adapt. Life's never just always on an upward trajectory. Like, there's gonna be times where you feel lost and something does happen, whether that's in your control or not. Like I've said in this video, to control all the controllables. Like, some things just happen that are out of your control. Like a recession, for example. Although that's not in your control, what you are in control of is what you do during a recession. Like, learning to adapt to certain situations and climates is a huge key. And just being ready in situations. I think there's that quote that's like, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. I think that's a great analogy, because you'd rather be prepared for a situation than unprepared, you know? Even though that situation may never rise. But yeah, life's gonna throw you some curveballs sooner or later, and throughout your whole life. So just remember that that's just a little speed bump in your journey, and keep pushing. Number 18, everything happens for a reason. I genuinely believe in this, because think about all the things that have led up to where you are right now. All the choices that you made, all the experiences that you've had, all the heartbreaks you've been through. If one of those things did not happen, it could have changed like your timeline on some multiverse shit. You wouldn't be in the spot that you are right now without those experiences. It's crazy to think about that one thing on that timeline could have changed it all. But also, how exciting is that thought that one thing that you could do from now could change your life forever, for the good or the bad. And I think that's what's so exciting about content creating, because you know that one piece of content could change it all, and it could be this one right here, but it could also flop. But I think if you do something for long enough, it'll work out in the end. But yeah, everything happens for a reason, I believe. So don't be dwelling on the past and regretting things that you can't change now, because it has made the great person that you are today. Number 19. Don't sleep on your 9 to 5. Entrepreneurship is so glorified these days. And yeah, of course, everyone wants to be their own boss and work on their own projects. Like, be honest, without a 9 to 5, it's just so much harder to fund things. Like, without a stable income, I wouldn't be able to move out of home, fund my brand, fund my camera, my microphone, all that stuff. Like, I get it. Your day job might not be the best and you might not enjoy it. So use the time outside of your job to work on the things that you do enjoy, and use the capital you get from that job to fund your projects. But yeah, I see way too much hate on the 9 to 5. Like, without it, I honestly wouldn't even be here. But yeah, stop hating. Number 20. Supporting someone else's success won't damage yours. I don't think people realize that there's enough in this world for everyone to win. Like, my mates with their own brands, technically they are competitors, but I want to see them win just as much as I want to win. Like, supporting your mates and what their dreams are should be just as important as yours, because having that support system around you is crucial in making it, I think. Someone else succeeding in the world doesn't mean you're not succeeding. Like, it's not going to be the downfall of your own success. I truly do believe in putting good energy out there and supporting other people's dreams. And how good is that feeling when someone else is supporting yours? Like, even just a small thing like liking and commenting and all that, it does go a long way. So if your friend or someone that you do know does have a business, go out there and support them, man. It goes so much further than you think.
And last but not least, number 21, be you and stay hungry. So that's basically my motto and what I try to live and preach, because first of all, like the first part of it, be you. I think a lot of us these days, and I've fell victim of this before, is we try to fit into a crowd, like to feel that we belong to something. But if that's not who you are truly, then you're just putting on a fake persona, you know. So I just really want to preach to be unapologetically yourself, because there's only one of you in this world and no one can do you like you. Embrace your imperfections and all the things that you think are wrong about yourself. Like, that's what makes you you. So embrace that shit. And sometimes we do get caught up in the crowd and trying to fit in. But I'm here to remind you that you are special and you do deserve everything coming your way. And I'm grateful for the person behind the screen watching this video right now. Now, the second part of that is to stay hungry. And I think I got it from like the analogy of when is it easiest to kill a lion? And it's right after it's eaten, because that's when it's satisfied. And the analogy of the person on top of the hill is never going to be as hungry as the person climbing it, because the person climbing it wants to get to the top. But you've got to also find that balance. It's like sometimes you got to stop and smell the roses, as they say. Damn, there's a lot of cliches in this video. But yeah, like look at around you and look what you've accomplished so far in your life. Like, you should be proud of how far you've come and what you have accomplished. But it's like, all right, done that. Give yourself a pat on the back and keep moving. Because, as again, another topic in this video is like being uncomfortable is where you grow. Like, once you get to a certain spot and you become comfortable, it's like you're not going to grow anymore from that position if you stay there and you don't continue to learn and you don't continue to read books. So yeah, if it's one message that I could get across in this video, because it's probably the one that means the most to me as well. So if you've come this far in the video, I just want to thank you so much. You're a real one, sticking through the whole like 20-minute video I think it's going to be. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down and watch this, and hopefully you learn something. So yeah, I'm going to try and upload more regularly after Bali, get back onto the YouTube grind like I was back on prep. And yeah, check out my socials, just Inko on everything. And peace and love. Be you, stay hungry, baby.